Hello and welcome to SQL 101. Whether you're brand new to SQL or maybe you just need a refresher in SQL, you've come to the right place. My name's Matt Tanner, and in this series, we're going to be breaking down the basics of SQL step by step. Every video in this series is meant to be a short and pointed video to get you exactly what you need. And in this case, today, we're going to be covering the select statement. Now, in today's lesson, we're going to be learning about the select statement, which is pretty much the most fundamental statement of all SQL statements you'll come across. This is the go-to command for pulling data out of a database. We're going to use SingleStore to show you exactly how this works. And then by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to use a select statement and retrieve data from your database. Without further ado, let's get started.
So if you need a database to run these commands in, my suggestion would be to go and sign up for a free trial of SingleStore, and then within that, we'll be able to run the statements in this tutorial. If you're using SingleStore, when you come into the main interface, you'll go over to Data Studio, and then you'll open a SQL editor. And from here, we'll begin to run some of our queries. Now, when we talk about select queries, we're really looking at something like this. Select column 1, column 2, n column from specific table. This is our basic way of retrieving data from the database. And this is what that basic structure looks like. Let's say, for example, we had a table called employees, and we wanted to pull every employee's first name, last name, and salary. We might have a select statement like this. Select first name, last name, salary from employees. Let's actually set up a sample database so that we can see this in action. If you want to run these commands step by step, you'll be able to see in the video description a link to a SingleStore free trial, as well as the Git repository where all of these commands will be. So first, we'll run this create departments table. Again, if you're new to databases and you don't understand exactly what's going on here, let me give you a brief rundown. So we're creating a table called departments, and these are the fields that are going to be within that specific table. Then we're going to insert some data into this table, such as human resources, finance, engineering, and marketing. In a later video in this series, I'll go over this create and insert statement in much more detail. But for now, let's just know that we have to be able to run this. So let's highlight these statements and then run these. We can see here, create table departments worked, and then insert into departments 4 rows affected. There we go. We have this table and some contents in it. And the next thing that we're going to do is actually create an employees table with some sample data in it. First, we've got our create table employees statement here, which is going to create our employees table, employee ID, first name, last name, email, salary, department ID, which is actually going to reference the primary key from the department table that we just created, and hire date. And then you'll see that I've got a little bit of an insert statement here to insert 6 entries into our employees table. Let me highlight these and click run. And we can see here that we've created the table and we've inserted the employees into it. And with that, we now have the data we need to start crafting some select statements here. So let me get rid of this here. Our first statement that we want to run is just select star from employees. Now, this star here or asterisk denotes all. So this means that we're going to retrieve all columns from this particular table. If I run this, we can see here our output, which is the employees that we inserted before. Now, let's say instead we only wanted to display a couple of specific columns, like the employee's first name, last name, and salary. In that case, we could come here and run this. So instead of doing select star, we'll do select first name, last name, salary from employees. And let's watch how this changes. Now, you'll see that we only have first name, last name, and salary versus all of the other fields that might not be applicable to our query. So this is much more focused, and it's allowing us to get only the information that we actually need. Now, another thing that we can do is actually rename these columns to maybe something a little bit more readable using an alias. So for this, what we can do is run this here. So select first underscore name as first name, last underscore name as last name, and salary as annual salary from employees. Let's see how that changes our top level here. Going to run this. And now we have friendlier column names in terms of what's displayed on the output. Here we have first name, last name, and annual salary. By using as, we've actually made our output easier to understand, and this can be really helpful when we're working with more complex queries. Now, SQL can obviously do much more than just show you data. It can also perform calculations. Let's say we wanted to do an annual bonus calculation. Here, what we'll do is select first name, last name, and salary, just like we did before. But now we're going to add another field here, which is salary times 0.1 as bonus. So this is going to give us a bonus column. And we're going to take that from our employees table. So let's go ahead and run this. Now we can see the first name, last name, salary, and their annual bonus that they're going to be allocated. So this is how we can do some calculations within our SQL query as well. Now, another handy trick is actually combining or concatenating columns together using the concat function. Let's say we just wanted to have one column for full name. Here, I'll do select, and then you see concat, first name, space, last name as full name, and then we're still going to bring back the email field here. When I run this, now I have full name. Instead of in two columns, I've concatenated those two columns together into a single column. And that column is aliased as full name. Now, in certain queries, this could be extremely helpful. The last and probably most important piece of this is adding filtering with a where clause. So sometimes you want to narrow down your results, and that's where a where clause can come in. It's going to allow you to filter your data based on certain conditions. So for example, let's say I only wanted to return employees where their salary is greater than $70,000. Anyone below $70,000 salary is not going to be included in the results. Let me run this statement here, and we can see that John, Michael, Sophia, and David all have salaries exceeding $70,000. And that's exactly what this where clause is doing here. Now, this where clause is incredibly powerful and can be used in many different combinations. And we're actually going to cover exactly that in our next video.
And there you have it. With that, we've just covered the basics of select, which is going to be the starting point for working with your SQL data. In this tutorial, we learned how to select columns, such as all columns or specific columns. We created calculated fields, concatenated data, and filtered our results with a where clause. To expand on this, in the next video, we're going to go further into how to use a where clause. And this is going to allow you to take those querying skills to the next level. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you don't miss out on further tutorials to help you to become a SQL expert. Thanks for watching, and happy querying.